What is dark, guys? By Night here, and I am behind you. I'm just kidding, guys. But welcome to my 5th Create a Class video where I kind of talk about my favorite classes in Black Ops 2. And today we're going to be talking about the I'm Behind You class, or pretty much just my favorite rushing class. It's the class that I probably actually use the most nowadays, just because I like getting gameplays. I like the adrenaline that comes with running full throttle into the enemy lines. Well, not quite, kind of more around the enemy lines and shooting them from behind, thus the name. But yeah, so this is probably one of my favorite classes that I've ever created in Black Ops 2. Probably one of the strongest classes that I've created, and definitely one of the best classes for rushing in Black Ops 2. This is probably why the title is going to be the best rushing class in Black Ops 2. There you go. But yeah, so let's jump right in, starting with the primary weapon of choice. Now, like I've said in previous Create a Class videos, the guns are so balanced in this game, but personally, I think that the two best guns are probably the PDW and the MSMC. And for rushing, I personally like the MSMC just a little bit better because of the fact that it has a little bit more range than the PDW. Not much, but just enough. And also, it has a few other stats that are a little bit higher. And if you guys remember in a previous video, I said that I like the PDW better for my objective or tryhard class, where I was going to be in the middle of the objective trying to gun down a lot of people. Now, the reason why I chose the PDW for that class, for my tryhard class, is because it has such a bigger ammo clip. Meaning that you have 50 bullets in your round instead of the 30 that come with the MSMC, so you can gun down a lot more enemies in a row than you can with the MSMC. But the thing is, the purpose of my rushing class is not to find 30 enemies at once. It's to flank behind and take out enemies one by one. Which means that the smaller clip, the 30-round clip, isn't as much of a disadvantage as it would be if I was running straight into the objective with the PDW. So hopefully that kind of helps you decide or understand why I chose the MSMC for my rushing class and why I chose the PDW for my objective tryhard, stand in the middle of BO2 class. So yes, this is the gun that I've chosen. I think it's probably, if not the best gun in the game, just barely one of the best guns in the game. So let's now look at the attachments that I've thrown on this beast of a gun. The first is suppressor, because if you're running behind enemy lines, you do not want the enemy to hear your gun fire. That would be very bad. This is probably one of the most essential parts of this rushing class, that you do throw that suppressor on whichever gun you may choose to use. Also, I like fast mats, because even though I'm hoping to only take out 1 or 2 people at a time with this gun, it still does have a small clip, and I still want to be able to reload it as fast as possible, because oftentimes when you're behind enemy lines, you're going to be encountering a lot of enemies. Even though they might not all be at once, you're going to be encountering enemies in fast succession. So you always want to be able to have a full clip, and the less time you're using reloading, the best time it's going to be, the better it's going to be, the less time you're reloading, especially if you're behind enemy lines. There we go. So let's now look at my perk 1. The perk 1 I'm using is lightweight. I think this is pretty logical, that if you're trying to get behind enemy lines, if you're trying to flank, if you're trying to be where people are not expecting you, you're going to want to be able to run pretty fast. Also, Ghost. Ghost is probably one of the best perks on a rushing class. Why? Because you're always moving, and when you're moving, Ghost blocks you from the UAV. So once again, just like with the suppressor, Ghost is super important because you want to try to attack the enemies from the side. If you wanted to face them head on, like gunfight to gunfight, like eye to eye, then this is not the class for you. For this class, you're trying to hit them from the side, and you're trying to take them off guard, so Ghost really helps you with that, especially if they always have a UAV up, which seems to be the case in Black Ops 2. They're always looking at the UAV, and if you have Ghost on, you'll take them off guard all the time. So let's now look at my perk 2 pick, and this is Scavenger. Now, normally with this class, especially because it has less ammo in each clip, you run out of ammo very fast. Especially, like, even after you kill 3 or 4 guys, if you're staying alive for a decent amount of time, you're going to want this Scavenger pack. Also, it allows you to refill your concussion and C4, which also will help you out in a lot of gunfights. So if you throw a concussion to win a gunfight, you can just go over the body, and will allow you have another concussion for your next gunfight. So that makes Scavenger super, super important. Now, the other good perk, probably the second best perk in this tier 2, is the toughness perk, which reduces your flinch when shot. But once again, we're not trying to get shot at, right? We're trying to hit them from the side. So let's now look at perk number 3, and once again, it's pretty logical. Extreme conditioning. You can run for greater amounts of time. I think this is probably one of the best choices for perk 3, but perk 3 I think has 3 really great choices. There's extreme conditioning. Once again, there's also dexterity. Why? Because you aim faster after sprinting and after climbing and mantling. So that means that since you'll probably be sprinting a lot, it'll help you out if you do encounter enemy head-on-head, which is obviously going to happen. This perk can help you out. Also, dead silence can be a super great perk for this rushing class because the enemy will not only not be able to hear you or see you on the UAV or hear you when you're shooting your gun, but also you'll be completely silent and they won't be able to hear your footsteps. So it can also be a very good perk. So, I mean, any of these perks can be good. I threw on extreme conditioning because I like being able to get behind the enemy faster than before and get to places I want to get quick. But both of these other 2 perks are also very good for this class. So let's now look at my lethal and tactical. Now for lethal, I like C4. It's just my favorite thing to use. I mean, if you want to use a Simtex or a grenade, you can use that if you'd like. Man, I just love the C4. And I might be able to, I might make a video just solely on how much I love the C4 in the future. But let's now look at my tactical equipment, and I'm using the concussion grenade because, man, when you concussion someone, when you make them blind, it makes it super easy to kill them, and especially when you have that scavenger pack constantly refilling your concussion, you can win any of the head-on gunfights that you might encounter, or you can run closer to an enemy, maybe if they're further away with that concussion grenade. It just helps out in almost every single situation, and using this concussion grenade effectively is going to really help with the success that you have with this class. So, yep, that's pretty much my rushing class for you guys. Hopefully you enjoy it. If you have any questions or any future classes you'd like me to make, like maybe a sniper class or something like that, I can definitely do that for you. But yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you watched this long and you enjoyed it, then clicking a like rating really helps me out. And also, if this is the first video that you have seen of mine, because maybe you searched for best class or best rushing class or something like that, and this is the first video you've seen of mine, then possibly click that subscribe button. And I upload a lot of amazing Call of Duty content. So if you do click subscribe, or if you're already a subscriber, then I will be talking to you guys all again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.